guys. Okay, so I said that I would make some nutrition and cooking videos for you all, and I didn't get anything from the store to make a cooking tutorial out of. So I'm going to do that in another time soon. But for right now, I'm just going to make a video about nutrition because, yeah. So I don't know exactly what everyone wants to learn about, so I'm just going to make kind of a basic one to start out with, because I feel like the basics are a good place to start with something like this. I'm also recording this on my cell phone because my laptop doesn't have a very good quality camera. I'm going to move that out of the way. That's Corey's desk chair. It's throwing off my vibe. Oops. Okay, well, it's still in the way. Anyways, so yeah, I'm going to start out with the basics. So I'll be talking about the recommendations for your diet, the national recommendations, and I'll also talk about the recommendations specifically for someone with diabetes, or pre-diabetes, I guess it also applies for as well, because I had some people request diabetes-friendly recipes, so I figured that would probably be relevant to people out there. But first, I wanted to take a quick moment to talk about what my rationale was for doing these videos. So, over the summer, I've been teaching nutrition and cooking classes to people in low-income communities around Colorado, and they've been really rewarding and great, and I've been able to teach a lot of people a lot of things. But at the end of the day, I kept thinking about how I feel like I'm not doing enough for my own family and friends and people who I care about, and I want to do more to, I don't know, spread the knowledge to help everyone that I'm close to, as well as anybody else that could ever be watching this video, so acquaintances or strangers or anybody who is watching. Also, my other reason for doing this is because I can tell there's a lot of misinformation out there. There's a lot of things that, there's a lot of places where people go to get information that are not good sources, like Pinterest or the news or Google, things that are really good sources for finding not good information. And I kind of want to, I don't know, be here for anyone who wants to talk to somebody with a background and has a question and has, something that they would like answered about nutrition. So, yeah, I guess I'll just get started. I'm hoping to cover a good bit of information in not a long time, and also, I don't know, just kind of give you a good overview of some basics, and I'm hoping that this will open up the door for people to comment or email me or anything with more questions. So kind of like the more you know, the more questions you have idea. So I'm going to show you, this is a little pamphlet I have for one of the events I did over the summer. So this is my plate, for those of you who don't know. Hopefully you can see that. And this is what was formerly the food pyramid. What most of us learn in school is a food pyramid. So this is much more accurate. Also much easier, I think, to wrap your head around because it's a plate. And that makes a lot more sense than a pyramid, right? So, sorry if it's really loud. That's what this is. And this is not intended to be what your plate at every meal should look like. So it's not saying you should divide your plate up into these things. I mean, you can do that if you want to, but this is more to represent what your diet any given day should be made up of, if that makes sense. So I'm going to grab something for a pointer. How about this? So one of the things that people notice in the classes I've been teaching is that the protein portion of the recommendations it's smaller than what most people get, right? So most people would probably half or more of their diet in a given day would be from protein. And I think that that's one thing that a lot of people have a misconception about, is like the more protein the better. Like this, I don't know, Slim Jim is good for me because it's got a lot of protein in it, and or I don't know, that's what they say in commercials, like this is a great source of protein, eat whatever, I don't know. So protein is actually not the most important thing that you should be getting in your diet. Most people get easily double or triple what they need. Also, given if you are somebody who is very, very active and exercise and do muscle bearing activity, then you will need more protein, or based on your activity levels overall. But generally, for most of us who are normal activity levels or sedentary especially, this is all that you need to be getting. Protein does not also mean exclusively meat. It means anything that is a protein is considered a protein. So beans, nuts, nut butters, things like peanut butter, almond butter, meat alternatives like tempeh or tofu or things like that also fit in here. So also this, as much as possible, should be coming from lean proteins. And I think most people know lean proteins like chicken, skinless, ideally, like turkey, things like that. Fish also, I recommend getting as much fish as you like in your diet. Like tuna is great. Fish is important. They recommend getting 8 ounces a week of fish. So that's also in here. Seafood and things. Another thing that I think the most important thing that I'd like people to take away from this diagram is that half your diet in a given day should be from fruits and vegetables. And a lot of people think vegetables and they think salad or steamed broccoli or like canned green beans or whatever thing that comes to mind, but you could put vegetables in just about anything that you are making. So one great thing to do is, what I always do is stock up on frozen veggies, because they're usually $1 per bag of frozen veggies at the store. So I'll get a handful of things that I like that I can put in lots of things. So I always get like peas, frozen carrots, like peppers and onions, and chopped broccoli and corn. Those are usually my go-to things that I always have on hand. So if I'm making pasta sauce, if I'm making like a red sauce, I'll throw in corn and peas and broccoli or whatever, and it'll be, there you go, you know. If you're making tacos, you can use, for one, you can use a leaner meat. So instead of getting like ground beef that's like 83% whatever 83% regular fat meat and then the rest lean meat, you can get like 93% and 7%, or I think they have 97% lean and 3% otherwise. That was reversed. So you know what I'm talking about when you go get meat. I'm a vegetarian, for those of you who don't know, so I don't typically buy ground beef. But it's broken down in percentages, and they show you the percentage lean meat to percentage not lean meat. And sometimes there's like 80-20, and sometimes there's 93% lean to 7% fat or whatever. So do the leaner one, okay? You know what I'm talking about. You can also get ground turkey, or do half ground turkey and half beef. And then, back to the vegetables, you can get like a carrot, which I think a lot of stores let you buy individually now. So you can buy 2 or 3 little carrots for like 15 cents and then shred them, grate them with a cheese grater, and throw them into your meat. And also you can use like half meat and half like pinto beans and throw those in, and then throw in some shredded veggies, shredded carrots, and have your veggies and lean protein sources. And there you go. So pretty much anything that you're making, if you're making a hamburger, you can add a lot of veggies to your hamburger or your sandwich, or quesadillas or nachos, whatever you're making. Just add vegetables. It's a good thing. A good thing to keep in mind is just looking, whatever you're eating, look at it and say, how can I make this healthier? And whatever you want to do, whatever vegetables you like, you can add them. And it doesn't always have to be a salad or steamed veggies, is what I'm trying to get at. A big important thing about this too that they stress is that your fruit and vegetables should be coming from a variety of different a variety of different fruits and vegetables, because the different colors and types of fruits and vegetables that there are have different vitamins and nutrients that they're sources of. And all of those vitamins and nutrients are important for your whole body functions and your health. So eating a variety helps to make sure that you have all the vitamins and nutrients that you need. So, yes. So half of your diet should be fruits and vegetables, a variety of them. Protein should be about a quarter of your diet, and as many lean sources as possible. Grains is the other quarter. So half of those, the recommendation is half of them should be whole grains. And how do you know that something is a whole grain? You have to be sure, you have to look at the ingredients list on the nutrition facts and the back or side of the box or package, whatever. The ingredients list is at the bottom of the nutrition facts, and the first ingredient on the ingredients list should say whole blank, whole wheat, whole grain, whole oats, whole corn is even considered a whole grain. It should say whole something as the very first ingredient. So wheat bread, wheat pasta is not a whole grain. Multigrain is not a whole grain. Stone ground is not a whole grain. Organic does not mean it's a whole grain. So the only way you know it's a whole grain is by looking at the ingredients list and looking at the first ingredient. So the reason it's important to get whole grains is because when they refine grains, they take away the shell of the whole grain seed. Oh no, I won't get into details. They only use the part of the grain that is carbohydrate. Just essentially what's going to very quickly get broken down in your body is sugar. And the nutritious parts of the grain, they remove. So the fiber, the vitamins, things that are really, really good for you, they remove in the process of refining them. So when you get the whole grain products, you get the whole seed, the whole actual grain. And that's important for weight loss, weight management. Your body doesn't break those whole grains down as quickly. It takes your body some time to digest them, so it keeps you fuller longer, and it does not cause the blood sugar spike and drop that refined grains do. So it's especially important for people with insulin sensitivity or resistance, people who are diabetic or pre-diabetic, to get whole grain sources of grains. Okay, then the next over here is dairy. That's kind of like an aside. It's like, this is what your diet should, I don't know what the meat and potatoes of your diet should be. This is like what you're eating, and this is suggesting that you're also getting dairy sources, which the important part of that is the calcium. So that doesn't always mean animal dairies like milk or cheese. It also includes milk alternatives, so like almond milk, soy milk, coconut milk, any kind of dairy alternatives that you get, including things that are fortified, like calcium, vitamin D fortified. So I drink a lot of orange juice that has calcium and vitamin D, and I consider that a source of calcium in my diet. So yeah, they recommend that as much from the dairy group as possible are low fat or no fat, at least reduced fat. So yeah, oh, and then also I'll just really quickly touch on this. So this one's not colored, so I apologize for that. But this is the dietary recommendations for folks with diabetes. So it is different. I don't know if you could see it very well. So half of this recommends, or half the recommendation is non-starchy vegetables. And then the other 2/4 are broken into lean proteins, starchy foods, and then the dairy is explicitly non-fat or low-fat milk or dairy. And then fruit over here. So the non-starchy vegetables are anything green and leafy. It includes carrots. Those are good for non-starchy vegetables. I'll read you, any kinds of greens or lettuces, green beans, broccoli, cauliflower, tomatoes, salsa, onion, cucumber, mushrooms, peppers, things like that. Starchy foods, so the other 1/4 here that are starchy foods, those include whole grains. There is nothing on here. There's no recommendation for any amount of refined or white grains that you should be consuming if you are diabetic or pre-diabetic. Brown rice is also included under the starchy foods. Also corn, which is interesting, sweet potatoes and regular potatoes, squash, beans are considered starchy, and any type of like low-fat crackers, pretzels, popcorn, things like that, those still count as starchy. So that's 1/4 of your diet. That should be there. It is recommended, but they should only be 1/4. The lean protein, we talked about lean protein. So yeah, this is what the recommendation is for folks with diabetes or pre-diabetic, and this is what the general dietary guidelines are. So this video is already longer than I meant it to be, but hopefully you were able to get some sort of useful information from it. And please comment or email me with any questions, things that you'd like me to cover in my next video. Yeah, and I'll also be coming up with a cooking tutorial here before long. So yeah, like this video, share it, spread it around, let me know what you think. Yeah, thanks for watching.